Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I am Steve Smith. I want to talk today about preparing for a total collapse. What do I mean by that? I mean a total collapse of everything, because that's exactly what you should be preparing for. Before we get into that, a couple of announcements. And anybody who's new here, I often have announcements, few announcements before we get started on the topic. It's kind of like church, you know. You go in there, you go in for the sermon, but you always also want to know a little bit about what's going on. And we have a real community here at Integrative Preparedness, just like we do over on Prepping for Prosperity and American Reversion and all that. But this isn't a channel to where we just get on here and try to talk about how everything's horrible, everything's falling apart, and yelling and screaming about that stuff. We talk about really what is going on and the realities of what we need to do. And in that also, much like in school or whatever, I don't necessarily tell you what to think, but I try to help you, direct towards how to think about things. That's what my books were about, and we'll get to that in a second. So we do have a community here. If that kind of, if that's not for you, I'm sure there's other channels that are. By the way, I've had several people email me and say that they discovered that they've been unsubscribed from the channel, and I've seen some kind of weird stuff going on with the numbers lately. So you might check on that and make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you've hit that bell there, and for all notifications, and share this channel with your friends that you think might get something out of it or need to know. So there is that. I have run through our announcements real quick here. The most exciting, the thing that I've been waiting for a long time. The website is up. The new website is up. It is stonemont.us, not stonemont.com, stonemont.us, because I like US. All my personal websites are under US, and doesn't matter what those sites are because it doesn't have anything to do with this, but I like the US domain, so I wanted to make sure that was it. stonemont.us, and on that you can go directly to that, and I'll put, and you can order books from me. In the past you've had to send there's an address down there that you can send your check and a little note about what you would like me to write in an autographed copy, and I still love those. By the way, I have to show you something that I just got. I went up to the post office the other day, and I hope I remember to get back to where I was, and picked up all the orders in for the books, and look what I found in one of the envelopes. California Department of Corrections. Now, how cool is that? I want to thank you. You know who you are that sent these to me. Thank you so much. This means a lot to me. I haven't announced this for a while because I've been so busy with other things, and I haven't started putting together the board yet, but probably this spring I will. Long time ago, somebody sent me a patch from their department, and I said, how cool is that? For those of you who don't know, in law enforcement, it's kind of a thing to trade patches between agencies, and I mentioned that, and all of a sudden other people started sending me their patches, and I love it. And I'm going to put together a board, and as I kind of redo the wall behind me, or I have, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put up a patch board, and we've already have quite a few contributions to it. So anybody, law enforcement, police department, sheriff department, highway patrol, state police, corrections, whether it's federal, state, whatever, military, yes, I've had guys send me emails. Hey, how about my military unit? You bet, guys. Love to have them. Paramedics, EMTs, everybody who has a job that when what hits the fan, they call you and you're on the way. I'd love to have it. Love to have it. So the address that you can send them is right down below in the information section. And thank you so much for you know who you are that sent me these. These will be right up there on that board. Okay, now getting back to this, the Stonemont .us website, you can go on there, and if you want to order autographed copies, you can order all my books off that website now. It's so easy, and there's a place for you to put in, you know, what message you would like me to put in there, and I always just say, you know, don't ask me to lie or say any bad words, and we're good. So I'm real excited about that. There will also be, our T-shirts are coming back here a month or so, something like it. We'll see. We have a lot going on. And you'll be able to buy the T-shirts off of there and some other items, and that's very cool. For the Patreon channel, if you're not with us on the Patreon channel, I'd invite you to come on over. Again, the link is down below. We put a lot of stuff over there that we don't put on, I say we, that I don't put on YouTube. Just yesterday I put a couple on shooting in low light environment, and should you have a light on your gun, and a lot of other stuff up there. Somebody said, somebody sent me an email and says, hey Steve, I can't find the Stonemont workbook on Amazon. It's not there. Well, this is what he's talking about. This the Stonemont notebook. And this is really cool. It came from an idea I stole from Sherry Fink-Coley, who was very nice. I asked her, can I steal your idea? She says, you bet, because she's one of our valued subscribers, both here and on the other channels. And it says, it's where life is good. That's the motto of Stonemont. For those of you who don't know what Stonemont is, and I'll get back to it in a second, it's the second series of my books. And where life is good. This is not for resale, because this is the proof copy that they sent me, just to so I could go through and make sure everything was okay, and that's that. On the back, it's got a little story about exactly what Stonemont is. And this is available, and of course it came out as the first book to have our website on it. Visit us at Stonemont US. I might be adding some more stuff to that website. I don't know. Let me know. Is there something that you'd like me to add over there on that website? That'd be interesting to know. So somebody said, I can't find it. Well, it is on there. You can find it on, and what it is, it's just a notebook that you can keep your lists and things like that. And I have always kept all my stuff on scraps of paper all over the place. This is the first thing that got me organized. So that's what it is, for you to keep your notes, a journal, thoughts, questions for me, lists to the grocery store, prepper lists, things like that. And actually, when the guy said, I can't find your note, but he said workbook, that's given me another idea. I have an idea for that too. So anyway, this is available on Amazon. Sometimes you got to search around for it. Just go to, and I think it's $9.99. Just go to Stonemont Notebook by Stephen C. Smith, and you will get it. Or you can also order it from me. It's $10 if you want to get it straight from me, and that's good. Now, what he was talking about when I was talking about Stonemont, remember that my books, I know there's a lot to talk about here, but I just, this is what I do for a living, and this is what this is really all about today's talk about. Prepare for a total collapse. That's what my books were about, the Stonemont series. When I started writing these back in 2016, I guess it was, I wanted to describe exactly how to prepare for, how to survive, and how to rebuild after a total collapse. Total collapse of everything. It's the reversion, the revival, the renewal, an appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, and the very latest one that's blowing things off the charts, hostages to fortune. If you haven't read any of them, you have to start with the first one. They are a series. If you just start reading later in the series, they're not going to make the same sense to you that they would, because you got to get to know the people, you have to get to know the situations, you have to, all of that stuff. It is a great, people tell me it's not just books, it's an experience, a life experience. I thank them very much for that compliment, because that's exactly what I had hoped to do, and I'm busily writing on the 7th one. So if you're not yet a Stonemonter, which is what we call those who have read the books, become one, and the links, of course, are down below in the information section. You can get these from Amazon, either in paperback or Kindle, or you can get them directly from me autographed, and you can get them either through the mail or, like I said, our brand new website. And I'm really hyped with that. Just a couple more things. Don't worry, I'm getting to it. Somebody asked, I can't find your Prepping for Prosperity channel. Is there a link? Yes, the link is down below. Prepping for Prosperity channel is where I talk about the financial aspects, the economy, how you can improve your life financially. And that is a major part of total preparedness. A lot of people don't want to think about it. But if you're not prepared financially, you're really not prepared. And I think a lot of people are discovering that here recently with the economy, aren't they? With inflation, with increased interest rates, with the collapse of the banks, and we're really in for a roller coaster here the next few years. And that's why I put in that other channel for people specifically interested in that. Prepping for Prosperity. The link is down below, or just putting Prepping for Prosperity. I'm sure you'll find it. And the very last thing, emails and messages. We were having a little bit of trouble with the email. I think it's okay now. If you're on the Patreon channel, there is a way for the Stonemont level people to send me direct messages. Send me a message. Ask me a question. I get a lot of the best questions off the messages on the Patreon channel, or send me an email. It's just we switched it over to a Gmail account, and I think we're going to be okay now. Okay, now let's get to the thing. There will be somebody out there. How far are we into this? There will be somebody out there saying this video starts at 11 minutes. Well, there's a lot there that I hope that our regular viewers would be interested in. Preparing for a total collapse. And I know, like I said, it's kind of like church, right? I talk about, maybe it's the preacher in me. I talk about all the announcements. Now, the sermon. People have a tendency to prepare for certain things. Too many in the preparedness world have latch on to a favorite scenario. It kind of appeals to their own personality. It appeals to the things maybe that they're strong in. It appeals to their strengths. People have a tendency to practice their strengths, not their weaknesses, when really, you need to be concentrating on weaknesses so that you don't have any weaknesses, but then continue to work on your strength. You need to work on all of it. And I've noticed this over the years, that some people have been majorly concerned with the collapse of the government, some people with EMP attacks, which is a definite possibility. Collapse of the government, not so much. This government is not going to collapse. I mean, the government system has collapsed. It's not the government system as it was designed to be. It's become a mess. You can argue whether you think it's tyranny or oligarchy or whatever, but whatever it is, it's not the way the founders intended. And so you can say that the government has collapsed in that sense, but it hasn't collapsed, and it's not going to collapse. The government is huge. It first preserves itself, and it's not going to go. The danger is that as it grows, the monster becomes more unmanageable, and while we may concern ourselves with a situation of without rule of law and a collapse like I write about in the books. Much more danger could be from what's referred to as EROL, or EROL, excessive rule of law. So that's our concern there. Other people, look at the collapse of the food supply, and that is a valid concern. Other people, not as nearly as many, have worried about a collapse of the economy, the financial system, and very often the ones who think about that, they haven't really prepared themselves to survive that. I mean, they've bought precious metals and things that really isn't going to serve you that well when it all comes crashing down. And I do talk about that because I think this is one of those things that people started talking about it, and then the more people talked about it, the more people believed it. And so now if you even question whether precious metals are a good investment, people get all upset and stomp their feet, and well, of course it is, and they'll start yelling about fiat currency and things like that, not understanding that pretty much every currency that's ever been, unless it was gold and silver coin, was a fiat currency. And you can even make the argument there, because all that means is a currency that's not based on anything else. And gold and silver, you can say that they have intrinsic value, and they may have intrinsic value in their use for jewelry and ornamental things, and in some technology. But the only value they have is the value that's agreed upon by people, that it has a value. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. So, if you're starving and I have all the food and you have all the gold, and you come to me with your gold, it doesn't have any value to me. I don't need it. In a world that's collapsed, I don't need the gold. I've got the food. Does that make sense? Okay. And I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings here. I'm just trying to illustrate the truth of the matter. And I've said before, if I have all the food and you have all the gold, pretty soon I will have all the gold and you'll have a little bit of the food. Okay. Really think about that. Don't just get upset at me for saying it, but really think about it, because it's important for your long-term preparedness. So anyway, people who have been worried about the financial collapse, well, we're seeing it now, right? And that's what I talk about, like I say, on Prepping for Prosperity, is that most people who have been worried about a financial collapse haven't really prepared for it. And that they think they have, but they haven't. I talk about, cash, stack your cash, stack your cash, stack your cash. I've been talking about that for years. I've told people, don't invest in the stock market. Don't invest in real estate. It's too high. It's going to crash. And I would have people come and say, but what good is your cash going to be when it all collapses? Well, see, the thing is, it hasn't collapsed. Well, yeah, it's been eaten away a little bit through inflation, but it hasn't collapsed. And our country and our world still runs on money. It runs on cash, okay, and pretty much on the dollar. Now that's changing, and there is a worldwide threat against the dollar, and that's something through the BRIC companies, and that's something to be very concerned about. But like I say, I'll keep that over there, because I don't think people on this channel really want to get that deeply into the weeds on that. So that is coming. The collapse at our border, and some people will say, well, it's not a collapse, it's an invasion, and you're exactly right. It's an invasion that is being brought and exacerbated by those who are supposed to want to protect our country. It's been aided and abetted. We're bringing enemy combatants into our country. We aren't, you and I, but our government is. And they are aiding and abetting those governments and groups around the world that hate us and want to destroy our country. What do you say about that? I mean, there's no defense against that argument. There's defense about that. And then you can just go down the whole litany of problems. Take your pick of the problems. The thing is this, that there is no way you can pick and choose what to prepare for. As I've said many times before on previous ones, it's like the old Chuck Norris saying, I'm going to hit you with so many rights, you're going to be begging for a left. Well, we've been hit by so many rights or lefts We're not begging for the other one, but it's hard to keep track of. We spend all of our time blocking. When somebody is just raining blows on you, about all you can do is block. Now, over on American Reversion Channel, we talk more about, hey, the best way to keep somebody from throwing punches at you is for you keep them busy blocking your punches. So it's the fighting back politically that is important there. And yes, we have had a number of political victories here lately. I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to that, because too many people, especially in the prepping community, have this idea that politics is useful. Everybody's a crook. Everybody, you can't trust any of them. I won't necessarily argue with that, but what I will say is that the political battle is far preferable to the battle that comes later if we don't win the political battle. And the other side has been winning the political battle for years. That's why we're in the mess we're in. So I don't understand why people would think that the other side can do it, but we can't. Whatever. Give that some thought. And if you really, think about fighting back, well, that's what we do on the American Reversion Channel. Join us there. It's down there. See, we have a whole lot of ways to go with this stuff. So there is no way for you to pick and choose or to decide or to somehow decipher what exactly do you have to prepare for. That's why I have always said, prepare for everything. Prepare for a total collapse of the system, the world, the whatever. Okay, that's why I wrote my first book. Did I show you that? I think I did. I wrote the first book, The Reversion. That's why I started the series with an EMP or CME. You have to read through the second book to find out which it is. But a total collapse. If you are not prepared for a total collapse, well, let me put it the other way. If you're prepared for a total collapse, you're prepared pretty much for anything. And I'll have people say, well, you can't prepare for a total collapse, and to which my response is, you haven't read my book. Okay, feel free, because you'll learn a lot. If you're not prepared for a total collapse, you're not prepared for all of the little threats that are included within it. Okay, does that make sense? If you're prepared for a total collapse, which means that you have prepared yourself to the extent that you can live comfortably, completely divorced from all of the external interrelated systems beyond your control, food production, energy production, protection, shelter, all of these things. If you are prepared for that, you're going to be able to survive pretty much anything. And that's why you should be prepared for overall preparedness, complete preparedness. A complete collapse calls for complete preparedness. Now, here's where I have people will say, well, nobody can be completely, totally prepared. And I will say, yes, they can. Yes, I know people. Just saying, okay? That's what I wrote the books about. My series of books is not about some people constantly trying to survive against the next, threat. It's about people who were prepared to the extent that the collapse of the world really didn't affect them negatively. And in fact, in many ways, it affected them positively. And we discover that as we go through the series. But that they had prepared them, and yes, I do know people like this. So if for those who say nobody can be prepared to that extent, they have already set themselves up to fail. What they're saying is they don't believe they can. And maybe they can't. Not everybody can. But I'll tell you what, everybody should try. And there is a way to do it. And that is little by little, building your preparedness little by little in all areas. Now, we know what those areas are. I don't have to go through the litany of the areas, okay? Food, water, protection, shelter, medical, essentially being able to live a good life like they did, for thousands of years before technology. Like they did. Well, how does that relate to if the government or the Chinese or whatever? Like, well, read the book, because I can't answer it, in a video. Read the books and you'll see. And this really isn't about me trying to keep pumping you to read my books. Plenty of people around the world have already read my books. It's not gonna make a big difference to me whether you read it or not. But I'm speaking also here to a lot of the stone monitors who have read it and can verify what I'm saying. Because the complexity of total preparedness is beyond what most people really think they can do. But I want to give the message here: you can do it. If other people have done it, why can't you? Why can't you? You may be starting small. Well, I don't have much money. Well, it does take money. It does take money. I'm not going to lie to you. It takes money. So go make some money. Go make more money. That's what I talk about on Prepping for Prosperity. You have to increase your ability to function financially within the system we have now. If you won't do that or don't do that, you're not going to be prepared for most of the things that are going to happen. But if you do it, and you understand that, like eating an elephant, it's one bite at a time, it's little by little, but a whole lot of small steps equal a large leap. And it's up to you to do it. Here again, it's not up to me to tell you all the things. I'm not going to come on here and let's now do this and do this and do this and do this and do this. For those who won't buy a book to find out about it, time would be wasted on them trying to tell them to do it, because they'll either find an excuse why they can't, or think that simply by listening to me talk about the list that they've somehow done something to prepare, both of which are, if they can't, then that's true. They can't because they won't. But here again, not what to think, but how to think. You have to start with, I can. And the second step to that is, I will prepare to the best of my possible ability toward the final goal of being able to live well, totally separate from the external systems over which I have little or no control. Let me see how I'm doing on time here. Yeah, okay, I got a couple more minutes, but I'm going to wrap it up. You must be prepared for, or preparing for, a total collapse of everything. That is the only sane way to prepare. Because if you're not, then you're fooling yourself by telling yourself that you somehow are able to figure out what that one thing is that you need to prepare for. And nobody is. Nobody is. And we've seen it now. All of the people that did not prepare financially, and I don't want to beat the old I told you so drum, but I told them so. I said, you have to increase your income. Those who didn't do it are suffering right now. Those who did are emailing me, Steve, I'm so glad I did this. I got a second job. My wife got a second job. My husband got a second job, whatever. We're in good shape. We've put this money back. We've done what you've said. We're looking at buying some land when the land prices go down, not now. And we are on our way to building our own stone mount. I wish everybody would do that. Remember, if you're prepared for it all to collapse, you're prepared for anything to collapse. And that's where your energy and your attention and your money and your time should be directed. Okay, I'm going to get off on that. Remember the new website, stonemont.us. Come over and check it out, and email me or message me, you folks who are over on Patreon. What else would you like to see on the website? It's a bare bones right now, and we're kind of thinking about what else to put on there. So let us know on that. Again, the books are available either through Amazon or from me, and you can get it from me either by mail or on the website. And the way to do that is down below. The new notebook, yep, is also available there, but you can get it from me too. And it's $10 from me, just mail my stuff. Any of you guys with patches, I'd love to have them. Thank you so much. Thank you again, buddy, for that. Appreciate it. Anybody with patches, there's a mailing address down there, a P.O. box address. You can send stuff to me. I think that's about it. Remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. But we need to prepare completely if we want to live well and completely tomorrow, because it does look like everything's collapsing, doesn't it? It's a slow collapse. But one day it's going to hit the point where there's not a lot you can do more to prepare. And if you're not prepared then, it's going to be a lot tougher. So do it now while you can. You all have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.